Okay, hi everyone. Oh, Great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste. Okay, let me grab the card decks and then off we go. Okay, Sarah Maisel saying, hi Skylar, lately I've been seeing 111 and 555 a lot. Yesterday 999 and 000. Would it be possible to get clarification on what they're telling me? Thank you. Okay, so 111 is watch your thoughts, right? It means that your thoughts, you're manifesting rapidly and your thoughts are manifesting into form. So be careful what you're thinking of. What you're focusing on is going to manifest for better or for worse, right? The thought that you're thinking right now, the feeling that you're in right now is going to create what you next experience, whether it's the next day or the next month or the next conversation or the outcome. Okay, so 111 is pay attention. You're manifesting quickly. Are you in the vibration that you would like to manifest? 555 means big changes, right? So 555 means you're either desiring big changes or big changes are coming because there's, your husband's got a job offer or, a move to Dubai or a move to America or your parents are going through a divorce, or you are thinking about splitting up with a partner, or your kid's about to go into school. So 555 is like big changes are coming. Are you prepared? Right? Have you sent the energy of ease? Have you done the belief work or the emotional work to make these transitions easier? So 555 is the energy of transitions, initiations, big changes, like blessings in disguise, but big changes are coming. Have you made the required changes and beliefs for these to happen with grace and ease? 999, that's not a good one. All right. So 999 is like if you think about, like, you call 999 in the UK when there's an emergency. So 999 is the angel's way of telling you that you are correct. There is somebody in your close and intimate relationships that is dangerous. And that might be they're dangerous because financially, or they're dangerous emotionally, or they're dangerous in abuse. But there's somebody you're close to that you are underestimating, that you're thinking, oh, it's not that big a deal. And it is that big a deal. So 999 is like, pay attention. It's also a mastery number. So 9 is like one of those, like 3, 6, and 9. They're called like mastery numbers. So it means when they show up, it means that you're normally ready to complete a lesson or to complete a situation. Right? And that can be a good thing, because if you're ready, for example, to complete the lesson of poverty, or you're ready to complete the lesson of unworthiness, or you're ready to complete the lesson of integrity, 999 means now is the time to take action. 999 is the time. Now is the time to, like, strike fast, strike hard. So it's like this energy needs to be completed in order for you to master this lesson or master this situation. And 000 is like return to God. It's like return to 0 point, return to who you are. Everything that you are asking for, everything that you're manifesting is already in existence. So what happens is people are waiting and they think what I desire, what I want is just out of reach, right? But the reality of it is everything that we want is already there. That's what quantum healing, quantum jumping is showing, but also what the metaphysical principles teach, that everything exists in an eternal now, and that we access it through the I am presence. And by putting I am, I am successful, I am at peace, I am healthy, I am whole, I am God's abundance manifest, right? These words, the power of the word, right? First there was the word, and the word was God, this energy of sound creating. It's telling you to return to who you really are, right? To return to 0 point, to meditate before you make this decision. And with 000, what I've always found with myself and with my clients is that it comes up when you're a person who makes a commitment, and then when you realize the cost of the commitment, you back out. So let's say you're in a relationship with a narcissist and then you decide you're going to break up with them. And the moment the breakup is over, you're picking up the phone and going, can I make it better? How can I fix this? Let's say you're about to leave the job and then you book in the meeting with your boss and then you're about to walk in to quit so that you can focus on your divine life purpose. And you're like, oh no, I need the money. I'm not doing it. And you talk about something else entirely. So 000 tends to come up when you're making decisions from fear instead of from faith, and from your fear instead of from what your divine guidance is. And it's become a pattern, right? So 000 is like, do what God's guidance is, walk by faith and not by sight, because that's the only thing that's going to get you out of this cycle, is this of stuckness and repetition. So I hope that helps. Okay, Gabriella saying, Dear Sky, can I please have an angel reading card for today? Many thanks, Gabriella. Yep, of course you can. I do Kuan Yin one for you. Oh, okay. So the reading you got is, my destiny is my own heart, and you guide me deeper within myself. So I cannot miss out on anything that is divinely ordained for me. It will always find me. At peace in my heart, I now receive that which is guiding me to unconditional love, into the fullness and expansion of my own divine being. So I'm going to call on Archangel Michael, and we're just going to use his sword to cut away this fear that you're missing out on something, because it's got you paralyzed. And it's stopping you from committing to the divine action required for you to get what you want. There we go. Okay. Successful me. Hi, Sky. Can you ask what blockages for me to clearly hear God's voice? Thank you, Mary Chris. Okay. So for those of you who are new, who are just joining us today, I'm on a streaming platform. So if, like Mary, if you want me to, the more I know, like name wise, the easier it is for me to tune in. So the more accurate the reading becomes, as it were. So if you don't want to click accept, then, or if your name, when you do click accept, is something, not in your vibration, like it's your business or something else, and you want me to tune into that, you want me to tune into you, then pop your name underneath the question that you're asking, and then we avoid me tuning into something that's not you, basically. Okay, hi Sky. Can I ask what blockages prevent me from clearly talking to God, connecting with God's voice? Okay, so let's have a look at what's coming up. Ooh, okay. Let's see what comes up. Got the Kuan Yin Bamboo Moon card. I've never had this one before. It says, did you know that there are no mistakes in the universe, and all events, circumstances, relationships, and situations are unfolding in perfect order with the timing and intelligence of the divine plan? Any apparent delay is in your favor. If something is happening for you right now, that is perfect too. Divine timing is perfection. It's safe to trust this now. So you might be wondering if anything is ever going to come together for you, or if it seems to be happening quickly now, if you are ready for it. The answer is yes. Divine timing is always at play, whether we are letting go or trying to force something. An intelligent power that is vaster than our comparatively limited vision is always in flow, and we are a part of that. We can also find so much peace and joy when we realize this and learn to trust and relax in the unfolding of our divine destiny. Okay, so the energy that's coming up around this is, number one, when I'm scanning, you fear that God is like angry or going to punish you in some way. So there's an energy of like a fear of being controlled by God. So I'm going to get Archangel Raziel to come in because that energy is coming in super strong. And so is Archangel Zadkiel, who's known as the Prince of Peace in the angelic realms. And we're just going to get him to cut away this belief that God is angry or God is controlling. God is not angry or controlling. God is clear and God is honest, so in deep integrity. And when you step into that voice of God or that connection with God, it's very difficult for fear to survive in the light of that truth. And whilst our soul can understand it, our heart is often like wanting to hold on to whether it's the job or the relationship or the toxic friendship or the anxiety or the disease, because we don't really believe that what God is prophesizing or speaking over our life is possible for us or available to us. We're like, who, me? Like, how could I be worthy of that? On a very deep level, right? We're like, we feel ridiculous, we feel completely unworthy of God's love. So let's take a minute and let's just allow that to be pulled out of your heart. God is not humans. But for you to make space for who you really are, you have to let go of all the masks you've been wearing, of all the places you've been shrinking or playing it small, and of all the people that you brought into your life to keep you small, to confirm to you that you were right, instead of to help you become who you're supposed to be. Okay. So the other part that's coming up when I'm asking about you, God's voice, is this ego death is putting you into like freeze mode. So what happens when we commit, like we really commit to the divine plan? Let's say you completely change your diet, or you start committing to working out for an hour every day and getting your 10,000 steps in, and you start to commit to living your divine life purpose. That takes up the space, right? Success takes time and energy, and it will take the space that was previously inhabited by your pain. All the time that you previously spent feeling sorry for yourself, wondering if you could do it, watching, Netflix series, calling your friends to talk about how hard life is, will be taken up with you doing the tasks required to manifest the new thing that's coming into your life. And what happens is we go into a panic and we're like, there's nothing of me left. I have no time for me. But the reality is, the me you have no time for is the me that never existed, is the suffering that's stealing your life force. It is not who you really are. But ego death is a bitch, and it will fight you. It will fight you for your life, right? So the you that's being born, if you commit to your divine life purpose, if you commit to taking care of your body, if you commit to walking the path that you are teaching, is going to be happier, stronger, more at peace. Like it's going to be a force of nature, but it's going to be who you really are. Who you were is no longer going to exist. That is why it is an ego death. And that is what you are scared of. That is why we're scared of our greatness, because we are living a lie. And in the light of God's truth, the lie does not survive. And then you have to deal with the regret, which is just how much effing time we wasted. Right? We wasted feeling disgusting in our bodies. We wasted on our business, we like doubting and working hours and hours and hours for somebody else and something that we hate, that we wasted procrastinating or putting something off. Regret is real. Grief is real. Time is your most valuable asset. But regret is a powerful teacher, because what it does on an unconscious and spiritual level is it puts things in divine right order. Now, how does it do that? It does that because it anchors pain to fear instead of pain to progress. So everything is upside down in the ego's mind, right? So the ego thinks that that love is pain and fear is like safety. So when Creator is correcting this complete delusional way of thinking, it has to be reversed. Pain has to be linked to fear. Pain has to be linked to inaction. Pain has to be linked to lack of self-care and lack of integrity and the behaviors that are fear-based, so that you are actually in alignment. Pain is then linked to fear, and peace is then linked to love. Right? And love is practical. Love is the discipline to wash your hair and dress your body and work out and eat right and send 3 gratitude texts every morning and be of service to the world. Love is practical, right? Love is not just a woo-woo theory or something that happens when we fall in love in a romance story. Love is a very practical thing. Right? So that's why so much of the word, literally, that's why discipline comes from the word disciple, which means follower of the light, right? You're not surrendering to some hierarchical, patriarchal God. You are surrendering to the practicality of love. Right? And love is very, very practical. If a parent loves a child, you get up and you make them breakfast and you clean them and you change their diaper and you wipe their face and you organize play dates and you stimulate them. You don't just say to the child, I love you, and then do nothing. Love is practical. It's the same thing in an intimate relationship. If somebody just says, I love you, but they don't actually do the actions required, that is not love. Love is practical. So it's the same, that's what you're learning, right? When you're getting closer to the Creator, is that God is not trying to control you. God is trying to free you. You are already being controlled, deeply controlled by your own fears, right? So when God gives us the medicine, when God gives us the discipline, when God gives us the spiritual guidance, it is because He is setting us free from the control that we have been living under for lifetimes, which is the control of the fear mind. And we are putting love back on the throne. We're putting love back in control. Okay, Kate Hodge. Good morning, Kate. Good morning, beautiful sky. I would love a reading today. There's a situation I could use some help responding to. If any messages come through, thank you. Okay, let's have a look. What's the message? Whoop, jumping card. Okay, we have your answer. That was fast. Blossoms of the Sky Dancer, number 3. Kuan Yin's coming in super strong today. So, Kuan Yin dances creative energy and light across the sky, causing blossoms to descend. In the same way, when we tap into our spiritual power of creation, we cause our life and all of life around us to bloom. Creation is a natural spiritual power within you, beloved. Force can slow down the process. It's time to stop striving and to allow your manifestation to occur. Trust, let go, and allow your creation to flow. Okay, so this is an energy around healing perfectionism. You are thinking that the work that you manifest should look like a representation of all the years of study, of all the years of learning that you have had, instead of looking like the way that it looks. You're putting off creating and stepping into your power because you are thinking that what you've got isn't good enough, or that you want to. It's kind of like when you want to run a seminar and you're like, oh, I need to get the slides finished and I need to get all this done. I need to get all this recorded. When the reality is you can teach the seminar from your notes. You don't need slides, right? It would be the next level, but it is not required. So the universe is asking you to come as you are. It's saying that what you're creating is so important that you need to come as you are, and that things are going to be created through you or called out through you as you are taken off script, right? As people are asking you questions, as you are responding to the present moment instead of responding to your perfectionism. There's a very deep call to action and a deep call to trust life itself. Okay. So whether you're fully conscious of it or not, it is happening. Your spiritual light is flowing onto the physical plane with the intention to manifest certain life situations and circumstances. These manifestations are in accordance with your spiritual path, and God will support you in the manifestation, which calls in the divine light of inspiration and support into every earthly creation. So that was the biggest thing that I got that wasn't inside the card for you is the energy of effortlessness, is the energy of choosing to be supported. And that is a huge block. So when we muscle test for worthiness, we often muscle test for worthy of money, worthy of time, worthy of love. Have you muscle tested for worthy of support? Right? Because for women in particular, there is so much guilt around support. And it comes from the fact that we still hold grudges for supporting others and being unrecognized for it. It comes from the years of being used, the years of free labor, the years of the time and the money that we spent and gave to other people that we don't feel we were fairly compensated for. And then it blocks us from getting people to support us, because if we resent the support we gave others, then we'll attract people who resent the support they give us. Right? So it's the forgiveness work to release the grudges for all the support you've given that's been unrecognized. Right? And to understand that the virtue that you're mastering when you give support, when you give unconditionally, when you give infinitely, is that you are mastering being yourself no matter what. Giving, love, doing the right thing, integrity. These are not responses to the way somebody else treats you. These are virtues that are building your character and honing your spiritual body so that you can become who you really are. You don't treat somebody like crap because they treated you like crap. You don't lower yourself to a low vibration because somebody came at you with an attack or a low vibration, not because they don't deserve it. Trust me, the law of karma knows exactly what it's doing. Okay, what they give out will come back to them. And that's exactly why you don't want to go there, because that is not who you are. It's not even who they are. They're trapped in an illusion, they're trapped in a lie. I used to have a friend that used to say to me, never argue with an idiot. They'll pull you down to their level and they'll beat you with experience. Okay. You lowering your vibration to the level of somebody who is in pain does not lift them out of pain, does not end the suffering they're in, does not give them what they deserve. It just pulls you out of your light and doubles the injustice going down. Okay. So you're not doing someone else a favor by not getting heavy on them. You're doing yourself a favor, right? You are choosing to be who you really are. That is a very important virtue, right? It's the virtue of living from grace instead of living from karma, right? If you want the universe's grace, then you have to align yourself to be that grace as well. And that doesn't mean you take loads of rubbish from people. It simply means that you are asserting yourself from a place of grace instead of from a place of anger. Right? Anger is a very weak energy. You get angry when you are afraid that you do not have the courage and that you do not have the worthiness required to follow through on your decisions, right? To give yourself what you deserve, to allow yourself to receive the things that you want. You don't believe that God will fight your battles for you, so you're fighting them yourself. So let's take a moment to just release all of that stuff so that we can allow you to manifest your greatness, your creativity, your spiritual power into the world. Releasing all this perfectionism so that you can come as you are. And releasing all the grudges at supporting others so that you can be supported. So the same way that if you pay somebody with resentment, they will pay you with resentment. If you support somebody with resentment, you will be supported with resentment. Okay, so let's release that support with resentment energy now. The support grudges need to go. Okay. Lei is saying, hello, Sky. During meditation, I saw a tree growing out of my third eye. It was perfectly weird because I love plants, but this tree was so big it was creating pressure and hurt. What does it mean? Well, trees are symbolic of like life cycles. The idea that it's growing out of your third eye is literally you being shown that you are seeing your life through a filter, right? This is the tree of your perception of life. If something's covering your third eye or growing on your third eye and it hurts, it's not letting you see clearly. It's not letting you see things as they really are, right? So it's asking you to change your perception of the cycle of life. There's some belief around this is the way life is that's causing you hurt and causing you pain. So we're just going to get Archangel Michael to come in and just remove that tree for you, right? So that you can see clearly. Here is saying how to grow in spiritual and financially. It's actually very difficult to grow spiritually without growing financially unless you're actively sabotaging yourself. Okay, that's why all the churches are super wealthy. That's why all spiritual people who are in alignment are abundant, because God is the definition of abundance. Okay, all the trees bear fruit. Every animal is hardwired with fertility, and not just fertility for them, fertility for the earth, right? So for spirituality and finances go hand in hand 100%, right? 100%. The issue is that we separate the two because we've been told money is bad, money is evil, and that is to do with a class war where the higher classes are trying to control the lower classes it comes from lack, like a belief there's not enough to go around. So how you make money spiritually is you create a product or you create a service that is of high integrity, that helps people, that makes the world a better place, right? It is that simple. And then you communicate with the spiritual community that you are offering this service and that service is going to make the world a better place and it's going to make their lives better. And then you show up and you deliver that service. That is how simple spiritual abundance is. It's how simple it is. Now, that may take the shape of one-to-one sessions. It may take the shape of an online course. It may take the space of teaching a class. It may take the space of a mastermind. It may take the space of a book, right? Or of a podcast. But receiving money for making the world a better place is a very accurate and fair, balanced exchange. And then this occurs until you are full, right? Until the lack in you has been washed out. And then the virtue of charity kicks in, which is why I'm here doing angel readings with you guys, right? Because once you are full, once God has given you blessings, you start to bless other people. And that comes from grace. You bless people you don't know. You bless strangers. You overflow. And overflow comes literally manifests as the virtue of charity, what is the ability to give the excess that you have, right? The fact that I have enough financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually means that I can dedicate this time to you guys, right? Means that I can do sessions for people who are on the waiting list, who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford that service. So the universe will fill you up first. As you learn that you're worthy of abundance, as you allow that lack to be discreated, so you start to be a living manifestation of overflow, and you are able to then share that overflow. And the definition of overflow is charity, is when you are able to give to somebody who is not in that vibration. So it's grace. And it's exactly the way that God works. God works through grace 24 hours a day. You don't have to be worthy of God's love, right? God just gives you everything. You can't earn it. It's just that radical, unconditional love. Okay, but you can't earn it. You can't earn your breath. You can't earn your lungs. Just your spine is worth multiple millions of dollars. If you what needed it replaced, you couldn't afford it. Right? So it's understanding that you are breathing by God's grace, and then you start becoming a living manifestation of God's grace. But you can't give what you haven't received. Right? So you start off by giving a service, a valuable service, and then you are able to fill up, and the lack within you starts to dissolve, and your faith in God increases, and then you're able to give, right? Then you're able to give. And it's incredible just how quickly giving snaps you out of self-pity, snaps you out of depression, snaps you out of anxiety, because all of those things, whether it's sickness, whether it's anxiety, whether it's poverty, all of those things are created by a focus on self, a focus on ego. So the moment that you focus on giving or focus on serving, it just dissolves, right? And the number of times I've seen people, for example, when I was in high school, we used to do Duke of Edinburgh, and that you have to do a lot of volunteering for Duke of Edinburgh to get your award. And the amount of work that I got through charity, I would go to help in an old folks home, or I would go to help in a children's center, or I would go to help deliver food parcels to people, and that would put me in connection with other people who, because of the nature of the work that we were doing together, were felt like they could trust me and that I was a good person. And then they would say, hey, I have a job going, would you like to work in this old person's home? Would you like to work with autistic children? Would you like to do this full time? And I would get offered opportunities. It wasn't why I started volunteering, but it is an abundance as a byproduct, right, of giving. If you give, then you have to receive. What you are giving comes back, right? So it's one of the reasons why it's so much better to volunteer than to stay at home. It's so much better to get into a state of giving than it is to get into that connection with self, right? And I'm not talking about the deep divine self. I'm talking about the ego self, which is, all about what we think we actually need to be happy, which is completely inaccurate to begin with. So growing spiritually and growing financially is completely in alignment, right? So let's just release the beliefs that the two things are different. There is no place where God is not. Okay, your finances should be in God's hands. Okay. Erica saying, Dear Sky, I'm working on the traumas, but I feel a lot of resistance and distraction. Can you scan to see what is the first thing I should look for? Thank you. My love, this is like you're afraid of the pain, right? So when you're a little kid and you're in emotional pain, let's say you're crying or you're angry, right? And you are ignored or abandoned. Ignored is as simple as somebody like pretending that you are not exist, or just sending you to the corner. Abandoned is them sending them to your room, or walking away, right? Then you will do the same thing to your pain. And what happens as an adult? And what happens is that you never learn to regulate your pain. So, for example, if my son falls over and he's crying, my job is to kneel down next to him, either pick him up or ask him to come in for a cuddle, right? And to let him sob it out, or to let him cry it out until he is calm, until he is regulated, right? And I might soothe him. I might say, Mommy's right here. I might say, I got you. I might say, breathe. Um, and then I'll ask him, does that feel better? What would you like to do now? But what I'm doing in that moment is I'm teaching him how to regulate himself. It's the same thing if he throws a tantrum. So if he throws a tantrum, like he throws, his wheelbarrow, or he throws the glass that he's holding, my job is to pull him on my lap and to say, take deep breaths with mommy, tell mommy what's going on, right? Tell mommy how you're feeling, right? Is this angry feeling, and I'll show them angry faces, this sad feeling, and I'll show them sad face. I have these little stickers you can buy on Amazon for a tenner. My job is to be with his pain, because me being with his pain teaches him how to be with his pain, right? So you resisting, you avoiding is because you were taught growing up that your pain has no purpose and that it's actually you misbehaving. The truth is, all pain has a purpose. And pain, especially in children and in adults, is not a sign that they are misbehaving, right? It is a sign that they are not able to regulate themselves in that moment or that situation, that they are in pain and they do not know how to come out of it. And it only gets worse over time, because all illness is progressive, including mental illness. So the longer you're stuck in a trauma pattern or in PTSD, and the more the pattern repeats, the bigger the nervous system gets, and the more attached to your identity the pattern can become. Okay, so that's the first thing when you're saying, I want to work on trauma, but I get resistance and I get distraction, is to realize that you are not a safe person for your inner child to be with. You are not a safe person for the wounded part of you to be with, because you are thinking that it should just get over it, or that it's too difficult to be around. It's like a difficult child or a difficult situation, or that it just shouldn't have these feelings. So it's either about bringing in a safe being like Archangel Michael or Jesus, or so that they can be with the part of you that's wounded, or it's about getting a facilitator or a therapist who's more comfortable being present with the pain until you develop that particular muscle, and you can then be present with the trauma without, bypassing it, projecting onto it, all the different defense mechanisms the unconscious mind has. Displacement, projection, all of those things. So I'm going to send in Archangel Michael to help you. Archangel Ariel is also coming in with you. She's showing me that you actually have a very strong connection with animals, and that animals will help you be more present with yourself. Okay, Hira is asking about the number 888. So 888 is an abundance number. If you see 888, it literally represents infinite abundance, lots of good luck, grace, fortune, like big opportunities are coming. 888 is a very strong validation that you will, like, this is a financially viable venture, that there's, like, you're sitting on a gold mine basically, and that the gift that you've been given is will financially support you. That's what 888 means. Okay, Mitra's saying, I see blue and green since I'm a child, also sparks in the air. Blue is Archangel Michael, green is Archangel Raphael, sparks in the air are your angels or your fairies. Can you tell me what this is? Yep, already done. So angels and fairies, guides will often take the form of orbs or sparks of light, and you can ask the orb to show you what they really, like, what their real origin is, or what the real manifestation is. But the truth of this is that we're all just energy. So a lot of the time your angels will show themselves as sparks of light. So you can ask them to reveal themselves to you. But what I'm seeing is Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael. And it's their way of letting them know that you're there. Erica Green is saying the trauma tree. Yeah, so it's when the unconscious mind shows you a picture like that, it's different than the trauma tree, right? Images are symbolic. So it's like dream interpretation instead of you looking at your own trauma life cycle story. But yes, it's similar. It's similar. But when the unconscious mind shows you an image, it's because it's telling you that like that image is, if you look up like a spiritual guide or dream animal or dream symbol instead of looking up as a normal symbol, and you'll start to see what it's trying to communicate. Hi, Skylar, everybody. Good to be with you. Good to be with you too, Maya. Okay, Eva's saying, hi, Skylar. I'm sick with COVID. Oh, honey, we're going to just bring in Archangel Raphael. Anybody else that's dealing with illness, we're just going to bring in Archangel Raphael and Creator's Light and just command an instant healing. Okay, I'm at the end of a depression and having big blockages to stepping into my power to start my company as a holistic healer. Can you help me? Thank you so much. Eva, worthiness, 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 worthiness. So viruses, whether you look at Vianna Stibel's book or Louise Hay book, are a manifestation of unworthiness, right? Feeling, and companies are, like you said, being worthy of your power, being worthy of your gifts, being worthy of being a leader, being worthy of abundance, right? So when you are stepping into your power, the lack of worthiness comes up, right? And you have to go and look at the places where you were told you had no worth and where you started believing that lie. So let's just bring in our Archangel Michael's coming in really strong today and just start dissolving these lies. Just place your hand on Archangel Michael's sword and let him cut away the unworthiness. Now, sometimes when you're a little child, from the ages of 0 to 3, this is known as the attachment stage, right? And the same way that a little duck will copy everything the mother duck does, so does the little child in the theta and delta brainwave state copy the relationship dynamics between everybody around them, right? So at this stage, if your father is unavailable or your mother is emotionally unavailable, you will fall in love with people who are emotionally unavailable. You will be in love with the wound instead of being in love with the person. I'm going to say that again. Okay. If that wound happens between the ages of 0 to 3, then the child will fall in love with the wound instead of falling in love with the person. They will be in love with the idea of being unloved. They will be in love with the idea of being mistreated. They will be in love with the drama that they were in childhood. They will be deeply attached, right, to the wound instead of being deeply attached to the wholeness around them. And this will be unconscious. They will not know that they are in love with somebody who can't love them back, right? They will just think if they try hard enough, if they work hard enough, they'll be able to get this person to love them, be able to save this person, right? But the attachment is so strong that they will feel attracted to that person. They will feel like an energetic pull. They might feel high amounts of chemistry, and they will also miss it, and they will desire it, and they will um try to get it back. It's no different than if you take an abused child away from its mother. Even if the mother was beating that child every day and hurting that kid every day, the child will try to get back to its mother because that attachment mechanism is so strong. Okay, so when you realize that you are in love with with being unloved, right? That's a massive breakthrough when you realize that you're in love with being unloved, and when that paradigm collapses and you're no longer in love with being unloved, right? From this space, you can start discovering, and there's a grieving process here, right? A grieving process of never having had wholeness around you, a grieving process of never having had mother's love or father's love or family or friendship. There's a grieving process that comes when you realize that that was never love, right? That's when you can start to create real love. That's when you realize that, for example, let's say you're in a relationship with somebody, you fall in love with someone who's married, or you fall in love with somebody who is emotionally unavailable, or you fall in love with somebody who is addicted or narcissistic, or you keep choosing bosses that are like that, or friendships that are like that, or employees that are like that. Suddenly you really get, right, that you are not in rescue, you are in deep wounding. You're not in love with the person who's in the marriage or who's emotionally unavailable. You are in deep wounding. And then you are able to face the wound and come back to your wholeness and come back to who you really are. But illusions can be very convincing, and they can have a very strong positive emotional charge. And that's why people will often be deeply attracted to somebody who abuses them, or deeply attracted to um, the traumatic situation, because they know that their wholeness is in the wound, and they're in love with the idea of being unloved. Attachment's a very strong thing. Okay, so let's take a moment. We're just going to call on Archangel Michael, and can we ask him to cut? Actually, I'm getting very strong pull to do a quick initiation with you. Okay, so with the true sword of spirit lies the word. The word, if you add the word S in front of the word, instead of word, it becomes sword. Okay, John's gospel opens with the statement, "In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and God was the word." This is the unconscionable power of the word, and it's the same as the power of the sword. The sword flashes within us. We might see it as a power of the spine, of that ramrod light that connects us to heaven and earth, so that spirit is earth and flesh. It's possible for us to survive as the entities we are. We must align and ally with our own sword and that of Archangel Michael if we want to be safe, sure, certain, and sound. We do this simply by making the request in prayer to him each time before we begin work with the sword. Additionally, ask Archangel Michael to bless your sword and your healing endeavors. Ask him to place his hand over yours as you use the sword. Okay, in healing work, we wield the sword with tender caution. It flashes brilliant silver blue. We hold it boldly and firmly in our right hand with its brilliantly gleaming silver blade. We gently cut away from ourselves or from our client, whether they are present or absent, any unhealthy condition of the mind or soul that may have taken a stronghold here. Obsession, addiction, inner slaveries, and unsavoriness all eventually loosen their hold and fall away on the application of the blessed sword of spirit. So this is from the Angel Healing book by Claire Namhad. I really love this book. Okay, so can we bring in Archangel Michael's sword and get him to cut away? I want you to get him to, first of all, bless and anoint your own sword, right? So he can awaken your own spiritual warrior to cut away this unworthiness. And to cut away this attachment to being unloved, this attachment to being unworthy, this being in love with the wound instead of being in love with the wholeness. Oh, I see a lot of you like are completely stonewalled around your heart. So can we just get Archangel Shamuel to come in and just soften your heart center, please? Just take away the armor. Okay. Eve is saying, "Hi, Sky. My name is Eva. Can I have an angel reading card for this week? Thank you." Yes, you can. And I'm getting sucked into the Divine Feminine cards and away from the Kuan Yin. So I'm going to follow that guidance. See what comes up for you. Okay. Clearing the deck. Okay. Angels, what do you have to say to Eve? Okay. So we got this card yesterday, and like I said, it's one of the most beautiful cards. The Mother of Believers. I'm spiritually and financially abundant. I provide heaven and earth for myself. I provide heaven and earth for myself. Okay, so can we release any part of you that's waiting for somebody to come and rescue you, any part of you that's waiting for somebody to come and provide for you because you feel that's the only way you can stay connected to your feminine? And can we show you how to up level so that you can receive, so that you can open yourself up to God's unlimited love, unlimited resources, unlimited abundance as a woman? Just letting go of all the psychological conditioning, all the societal conditioning, that this is not a woman's role. And that if you do that, you won't receive it from your male partner. Now, this is 100% not true. Okay. What happens is masculine energy competes with masculine energy. So if you make your abundance through going into masculine energy, then your partner will compete with you. But if you make your abundance by staying in your feminine, your partner will provide for you, and any extra abundance that comes in gets invested in the family line, etc., etc. Okay. Mattis, thank you so much for the words you said to my sister yesterday. She really needed it. Aho. Any guidance from my angels would be appreciated. Thank you. Okay, let's ask for Mattis. What is his or her angel guidance? Ooh, never had this one come up before. The goddess of all that flows. I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. So the angels are showing me when I'm tuning into you that there's this creativity block. There's a fear of it's all been done before. I've got nothing unique to contribute. So can we just take a minute to let the angels heal that for you? Because it's not true. You have an ocean of creativity inside you. And what you have to contribute to this earth is valuable. Okay. Last one. Caroline is saying, hey, beautiful. I've been having some inflammation and high cholesterol. I was wondering if the angels can do a healing and any awareness of what's happening with this. So I've immediately got Archangel Raphael here going, change diet, change diet, change diet, change diet. We have to cut out the meat. We have to cut out the dairy. We have to make some changes here. You are using food to numb your pain. There's a really deep fear that you will never be loved, and a deep anger, like anger that the people that you wanted to love you and that you invested so much time and energy in, you feel like they're not going to love you, right? So let's just take a minute to release all that anger and that grudges. That's what manifests as inflammation. And the cortisol is like stuck anger. It literally blocks the communication. So cortisol literally creates a biological wall that the blood can't flow past, right? Or flow through. And it's what happens when we are creating emotional walls because we no longer feel it's safe to let people in. Okay, so the angels are telling me to say to you that you are projecting, like you are really projecting your belief that change is not possible for you onto the people in your life. You think they can't change. You think the issue is that they can't change. But the reality is you don't believe that you can change your pattern of codependency, of rescuing, of you don't believe you're worthy of a good, loving person. So the pattern that you think, the pattern that you are refusing to change is that you are refusing to choose good people to be in relationships with, good people to be in friendships with. You are refusing to change the people that you allow into your life. You don't believe you can change that, right? You are not even going to try. You're completely avoiding it. But the fact that you are refusing to look at it and you're refusing to change it is then a mirror for the people that are coming into your life that are refusing to change, right? And are refusing to look at what they're doing in their life. Okay. So you need to let go of the belief that change is not possible for you. Change is possible for you. You just have to stop trying to change other people and focus on changing the choices that you're making. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're giving up on God. It doesn't mean that good people don't exist if you're not running around after selfish people all the time. It doesn't mean that you are wrong about all of life. It just means that you have more important things to do with your life. Okay, free will is an ultimate law of the universe. You have better things to do with your time than spend it with people who are using theirs to live in fear. Okay, people have free will. They get to make the choice. And that can be very hard for healers, especially women, to accept. People have free will. It's a really important lesson. It's not about not caring. It's not about not loving. It is the opposite of that. Control is not care. Control is not loving. Force is not care. Force is not loving. And when you go in there trying to force somebody to do something, that is an act of violence. I don't care how well-meaning it is an act of violence, right? Nobody wants to be forced to do things. So we need to pull out that violence, emotional violence in particular, from anybody who wants it now, so that you can actually step into emotional peace, emotional freedom, emotional free will. There are many people that have gone down paths in this life that I could not go with them. One of my very close friends from university decided to become an escort and got into substance abuse. I couldn't go with her down that path. I'm a medical intuitive. Imagine how many people would have died. Imagine how many people would not be healed if I had gone down that path with her, right? There were friends of mine when I was younger who I loved with all of my heart in high school, who were deeply stuck in poverty consciousness, and they could not handle the level of abundance that I was in, and I had to let those relationships go, and it hurt like fuck. But if I hadn't brought in that abundance, I would not be able to pay my team. I wouldn't be able to do charity work. I wouldn't be able to give away scholarships to my program. I wouldn't be able to build hospitals and schools, right? So the people in your life will either support your divine life purpose or they won't, and it's their free will. They don't have, I've got friends who are in poverty consciousness, but they support me completely in going for my dreams, and then we can remain friends. But if your choices mean that you're going to attack me in the pursuit of my divine life purpose, then we have a problem, because you're going against my free will, right? So it's the same thing. If you are going against somebody's free will, you ain't got any business, right? And you're creating all kinds of karma for yourself. If you go and try and mess with other people's free will, people are going to try and mess with yours. And that's when you get into relationships where you're controlled and where you're abused, and because people that are doing that are messing with your free will. Right? They don't care what you want. They don't care what they think. They think they know better. I know it's really convincing. I know the ego is silver-tongued, but it still is what it is. People have free will. Okay? Sometimes the best thing you can do for everybody is to let go. So let's take a minute. Anywhere where you're trying to force change when really the person that you're avoiding changing is you. Anywhere where you think change is more painful than staying in the fear, let's just bring in Archangel Michael to show you the truth. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. Change is always less painful than staying in fear. And it lasts less time. And that's exactly why it's scary. So we have had some insane breakthroughs in medical intuitive this week. This week, as you guys have seen some of the Q&As, people were working on the deepest traumas. It's a very deep month homework-wise for us. We're working on our inner child. We're working on our a lifetime's worth of traumas. We're not playing it shallow, we're going really deep so that diseases don't manifest in us as we are healing a large number of people who are unwell, because that's what happens when you open a health practice, is you come into contact with a lot of people who are at a different vibration, and you have to be able to hold that space without getting triggered. And that means you have to take a really serious moral inventory of all the traumas in your tree of life, and you have to be willing to do like a deep clearing around it. So it's been a very deep week for me, and it's been a very deep week for the students as they are going really, really, really deep into the truth of what's been holding them back from becoming who they really are, from living their divine life purpose. And the themes that have been coming up consistently have been overwhelm, have been trying to do it by yourself instead of receiving help or accepting help, have been the fight response. Like, the fight response is such a spiritually bypassed response. We're all comfortable with freeze, with flight, with fawn, with faint, but when it comes to the fight response, everybody's like, that's not me. They're still completely in the PTSD of the fight response. So that's been coming up as well, this attacking, this love-hate relationship with mentors, with themselves, with their life purpose, which is blocking the long-term consistency, the illusions, right? The where we're telling ourselves one thing, but we're doing something else. So when we want to live our divine life purpose, and the reality of it is that we are not taking aligned action, right? So if you're asking yourself the question, what game am I in? Is the game to live my divine life purpose? And the moment you ask yourself that, if the game is to live your divine life purpose, then the next question is, are you living that way? Are you living in alignment with that goal? And then if not, what fear is blocking you from living with that goal? Now, the problem is, and it arises when we lie to ourselves. We go, oh, I am living my divine life purpose. But the truth is, your actions aren't in alignment with that. And that might be because you're afraid you're making your family a bigger priority. You're afraid you're missing out on time with your kids or with your partner. It might mean that you're making your what's it called? You're afraid of the money stuff. So you're making what's it called? The systems or the structure a priority. It, like, however it comes up, you are making something a bigger priority than your divine life purpose. And instead of being honest with yourself about that, you are then lying and you're going, I'm making my divine life purpose a priority and it's not working. And that's where you get stuck, right? So there's no judgment about making anything else a bigger priority than your divine life purpose, but you will get stuck if you are lying to yourself about it, right? Because then your fear mind's going to take you into, you did everything and it didn't work. When the truth is, you weren't fully able to show up because you made something else a priority. You chose something else, right? And that's why it didn't work. So that radical honesty with ourselves is what provides this platform for either bringing in the extra support that we need, right? Or allowing ourselves the space to be like, okay, well, I'm not making my divine life purpose a priority. I'm going to make my family a priority, or I'm going to make my finances a priority. And that is my decision, right? So the responsibility is the key to you keeping trust with yourself. If you do not take responsibility, you will lose trust and faith in yourself. And then those little decisions, every lie you tell yourself stacks and until you literally no longer trust yourself, right? In NLP, we call it a memory stack, where, like, I told myself I'd eat better and I didn't. I told myself I'd take actions in alignment. I didn't. I told myself I would treat myself as if I was worthy, and as if I would take care of myself, and I didn't, right? So these are what's called a stack of memories or a stack of experiences that then become like a conviction. It's more than a belief. It's a conviction. You believe it to be a truth. And then that's all your mind can find, because what you focus on, you see more of, right? So this week is really about that fierce moral inventory, especially if you're in my vibration. The year is not over, it's just beginning, and winter is finishing and spring is coming. And for you to be able to grow, you have to get honest about what it is that what game are you playing? What reality are you in? And are you in alignment with your actions, with the reality that you're aiming for? Right? So that's what we're working through in this round of Medical Intuitive. The next round is in October. It's already booking up thick and fast, which just shows you how much my vibration has shifted worthiness-wise. I've been working my ass off on worthiness issues again the last couple of months. So if you guys would like an instant healing around getting really radically honest with yourself about what's really going on, about finding the courage to commit to your divine life purpose, and about releasing the story of you doing everything and not getting anything in return, so that you can step into the truth, which is you get what you give. And what you might find is you've not been given very much, or you've been giving things to the wrong people. But it's because you were focused on the lie that you give and get nothing. And what you focus on is what you create. The ultimate truth of the universe is that you get what you give, or you give and you get grace, which is you get so much more than you ever thought you were worthy of. And what I want you to do for me is focus on the ultimate truth. I want you to focus on grace, because that is the ultimate truth by which you draw your every breath, instead of the reality or the illusion that you're in right now. And find the courage to reconnect to your divine life purpose, because that's what's going to bring you back to who you are. That's what's going to bring you back to fulfillment and wholeness. And that's what's going to give your life the purpose and meaning that you so desperately crave and so deeply deserve. Okay, let's do our closing prayer. O Great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives, and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended, our pain be lifted, to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste.